Welcome to the Town Board Workshop meeting Thursday, May 5th. Please rise and salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Emergency exits are to my right, behind the town attorney, and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilman Delango?
Here.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Here.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. Supervisor Purdy?
Here. Public comment? No public comment. Okay, supervisors report. I was invited by the governor's office to participate in a Hudson Valley Roundtable for New York Women Lead with the Lieutenant Governor on April 28, 2016. We covered a lot of issues facing women in government and education and a lot of different areas, and it was very informative to hear the stories of how a lot of the women participants, how they moved into their respective positions and the path that took. We're currently rebidding the heating system, and we're also sending out a bid for the reduced sidewalk plan. I'm trying to set up a meeting in May to move on with the ambulance services. We're still working on what items need to go in the RFP moving forward. So that's what we've been doing so far. Town clerk report.
Good evening. The monthly share has been remitted to the supervisor in the amount of $622.50. I'd like to remind everybody that we are currently in a burn ban that is through March 16th through May 14th. I've distributed this evening to the town board applications that I've received for the dance instructor, bank reconciliation clerk, and planning board secretary, and I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to go ahead and schedule a special meeting to conduct those interviews.
You can go ahead and schedule one for next week for whatever time the four of you can meet for the planning board secretary.
I make a motion that we schedule a special meeting on Monday at 7:30 to conduct interviews for 3 open positions.
Second that.
Actually, I'll be doing the interviews for the reconciliation clerk, since that's my department.
Okay, so for the dance instructor and the planning board secretary?
Yes.
I amend my motion. I make a motion that we have a special meeting on Monday at 7:30 for 2 open positions.
Second that.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Purdy?
Yes.
Here.
Yes,
Sorry.
here, in this room. Also, I wanted to let everybody know that I am in receipt of the official building use request for the Hudson River housing event. I'm sure Mike's going to touch on that during his report, so I don't want to steal his thunder. But I am just looking that we can waive the fee and the insurance for this event.
I'll make a motion that we waive the insurance and the fee for utilization of the town hall for the Hudson River housing event. I believe it's on May 11th.
May 11th.
Okay.
Yes.
A second.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Purdy?
Yes.
Also, I wanted to report to the board, Supervisor Purdy was able to attend this week. We attended a Laserfish program training that was offered by General Code towards the grant requirement. The staff had the opportunity to kind of get a very small glimpse of what the project and what it has to offer. As I've explained it in the way that I'm looking at it in my office, it is a 5-year rollout. We're going to be beginning with the town clerk's office, working on the minutes, the resolutions, the local laws. We've already sent all of the documents from the 1800s through 2015 out to an outside vendor for scanning. And Tara this year will continue to update and process all of the items through 2016 in those areas. And we're going to continue scanning vouchers, contracts, and vital records here at the local level. And then, of course, I'd like to wish all of my moms out there happy Mother's Day weekend. That's it.
You were going to talk about the,
Do you want me to go right? Okay, so also
Sure.
on the agenda, so I saw it as an agenda item. Part of the grant, and I distributed it last meeting, was a 2016 Intermunicipal Electronic Content Management System Policies and Procedure Manual. This was an item that was requested through Dover, that if we would go ahead and adopt this policy.
we need to do that by resolution, Denise?
So you can move the resolution.
I would say yes.
It could be a verbal, move the resolution to adopt the policy that was,
Yeah, because they hear, they have a statement here that adopting resolution to accept this intermunicipal ECMS policies and procedures manual.
Can we do it on our Monday meeting in addition to
can you
our
get it to us?
higher?
Just we made a resolution to go ahead and adopt the policy. She didn't send anything special otherwise.
So we authorizing the town attorney to do a resolution
Sure.
to accept this policy?
I'll second that.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Purdy?
Yes.
Okay, I'll let them know that
Now you're done?
now I'm really done. I included an agenda item, that's good.
Grant administrator report?
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Mike Haggerty, grant writer. I updated the grant list here, our existing grant portfolio, which is pretty significant still, considering there's about close to 700,000 in grants for the Wassaic Trail to the Train project, and
So one for the-
we're still tapping into some of that design money, in order to pay for the work that has been done to date. And I'm working on possibly a new claim from one of the latest expenses that I've been given, looking to qualify that for a reimbursement. The sidewalk project is moving ahead nicely. The county has agreed to phase the CDBG grant so that in the future we could apply for, say, phase 2. If you can do a reasonable amount for the within budget this year, that would be great. And we do still have 2 outstanding community development block grants, the $100,000 for the Wassaic Trail to the Train. We did not get the Wassaic. We had asked for it last time, a grant to connect and improve the sidewalks in the hamlet of Wassaic, connecting to the future Wassaic Trail to the Train. That was not recommended for funding. And I think part of the reason, is that Dutchess County's priorities this year are involving think differently and trying to look more at handicapped accessibility projects. So that is more of a priority. If you look at what was funded, a lot of them were handicapped accessible playgrounds around the county. But we've had a good record with this, and we probably should continue to apply, and it's likely we could be successful next year. And you may want to look at the phasing of that sidewalk project, and handicapped accessibility improvements here at Town Hall were once considered. Just going down the list, the dance program looks like it is well funded so far this year, and or partially funded. I did complete, when Vicki, you were away, the Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation grant. Hopefully that will be successful. It would be to do some modifications and get some mirrors and bars for that classroom upstairs to help improve rehearsal. The Tribute Gardens proposal for the kitchen is still pending. It's under review. I was told. I did follow up on that. We did not get the Wassaic Trail to the Train grant last year, but I did follow up with New York State Parks about it, and they gave me some great pointers on how to improve for next year's round, which is coming up shortly, if we do want to pursue more funds for that, which you may need. Basically, the idea was to just get in the newspaper more with our projects and be on the radar screens of decision makers, because a lot of times this part of the county is forgotten if we're not, in the forefront and at Poughkeepsie participating in these meetings as they happen. But I thought she did give some good pointers on getting letters of support and just trying to build a case, as we have done before with this project and with the TEP grant. The boilers are still eligible for a grant. I understand you're rebidding that, so I'll update that. And then I wanted to list some upcoming grants, because it is getting to be grant writing season, and we have the Hudson River Valley Greenway, which has been very generous to the town in the past, I think giving over $17,000 for the Trail to the Train in planning grants. The deadline is tomorrow, which is kind of a quick turnaround, but there's also September 9th and December 2nd if we wanted to pursue another Greenway grant. And then I just wrote a few others that I thought you may be interested in, some private foundation grants, National Endowment for Humanities. And then next week, there's a municipal consolidation and shared services grant orientation in Poughkeepsie. I was really hoping to go to that, and I think it would be valuable to do that, because I was thinking we could apply for a grant for the kitchen. It's not really that far of a stretch, because
Are you going? I thought you were going.
I am going, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I am going to go, yes, I'm going. But I'm hoping to apply, really, and the reason being that it is kind of if it is created, it would be a regional, like emergency shelter. At least that was what the main point of the kitchen committee was when I met with them recently. They wanted to really emphasize that as the main purpose of the facility, to be a place for displaced families to be able to be fed and housed, in an appropriate manner. And I had been looking at some of the past projects that were awarded, like a bridge in Poughkeepsie, a pedestrian bridge over a park, saying it's a multi-jurisdictional bridge. So, I think there is a possibility of a funding if we can prove that by having a regional resource, there could be some potential for savings. It could be more efficient to at least have a regional place where the Red Cross could offer services, the town could, provide additional services. So I wanted to go to the workshop to see if maybe we could fit an application for that, partly because the county has also added money to it. They had a surplus, and so I don't know if you saw that in the paper, but Marcus Molinaro added a few more million to this project, this program, so it just seems like it might be a good opportunity to apply. And then also water infrastructure grants. The state added more money also and extended the deadline of this project. I think I've circulated this, to the town water to Marco, and Victoria knows about it. There is a webinar actually also next Wednesday at 11 about this grant. which is, basically to improve water infrastructure, drinking water infrastructure. I met with Hudson River Housing recently to try to get some ideas of grants for the kitchen, and because they are building a shared-use commercial kitchen in what is the old underwear factory. It is a building that is largely gutted in downtown Poughkeepsie, but they're completely renovating it. 2/3 of it will be new affordable housing, and the rest will be business incubators, like a coffee roaster and a cafe that they will run, and that they will try to gain participation from low to moderate income residents who may reside there. Just sounds like an interesting project. She gave me some good ideas. The big opportunity of grants is going to be the consolidated funding application, which is due at the end of July, so I'm going to stay on top of that. I think we could apply through that, through Empire State Development, for example. She had mentioned getting Ron Hicks knowledgeable about what the town's desires are as far as the kitchen goes, since he is kind of the economic development czar of Dutchess County. And as I dug deeper into this whole process of the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council, there are other stakeholders that we may be more familiar with who are like on working groups and things. So I think, again, with the idea of garnering public support, we have a good chance to seek funding from the consolidated funding application. And then just a bunch of grants from the Community Foundation. So I'm hoping to come to you next time with some more concrete proposals to seek a grant. If you have any questions or any suggestions, I'd be happy to hear it.
What was the Tiger grant? It must be a new federal funds that Chuck Schumer was...
Well, it's not
weighing in on.
new, it's ongoing, and it's very competitive. It is a federal grant. This is just scratching the surface, actually, of grants. Every day, the grants.gov, there are new grant opportunities. Tiger is one of them. That's a big grant. We did write a letter of support. Victoria wrote a letter of support for the Harlem Valley Rail Trail Association, is seeking a Tiger grant. Actually, Dutchess County Public Works is also sponsoring this particular grant, which would benefit mainly the sections in Columbia County, which is kind of odd, but it's interesting nonetheless. We did write a nice letter saying how the rail trail has been key to Amenia's economic development and
That's
tourism.
because it's connecting from Millerton to
Yes.
Copeg, so it's going to start in Dutchess County.
It shows how key it is, but I just thought that was interesting that Dutchess County is actually taking the lead on that, and now Chuck Schumer is, could make it a reality. So, but anyway, Tiger Grant is a federal transportation grant, and
Is it 20/80, sort of 20% match required, or is it
I
something
think so,
different?
yes.
Yeah, those federal ones are...
Sometimes they have, with distressed communities, can get less of a share, a local share, but Amenia is not a distressed
I
community.
was just thinking if the Harlem Valley Rail Trail can apply for those fundings, perhaps that's another opportunity for a smaller, the remaining money that's needed for our section of the trail, but maybe it's just not going to be responsive enough in time, or...
Well, yeah, the deadline I think is already passed actually, but it's something to look at. I mean, it is a very competitive program. I think they have the right approach. Even they are going to have a tough time getting a grant because a lot of them go to New York City or big cities.
Which is what we ran into with the CFA application.
Well,
Most of that, when we applied for the parks part, I mean, all that money went to Marist College and Walkway over the Hudson. So
Yes.
they tend to fund
Clump
big,
it. Yeah.
big multi-million-dollar projects more than our local projects. So hopefully that'll change this year.
Well, they did hear me when I spoke about the Recreation Trails Grant, and when I voiced that concern that Marist and got $1 million, and the Walkway again got another $500,000. Again, Aaron O'Neill was saying to make the decision makers aware of that, and getting your opinion in the newspapers is important, or being on the radar screen and getting letters of support for
Yeah,
these
the whole,
projects.
I mean, the whole point of the consolidated funding application is to have one place to apply for a multitude of grants. But it gets discouraging for places like Amenia when the bulk of the money goes to big cities and big, you know, big items elsewhere.
We'll have to keep trying. I think we do have a chance,
I mean,
though,
we're still going to continue to apply.
especially if you get this feedback and then revise them and make them stronger the next time. So, well, good. Hopefully we can apply for, another grant under that this time. Thanks.
Okay, building report. Town board members, please find April's monthly report for the building department. As building permits go, we have issued 8 new building permits totaling $2,228. We're continuing with certificate of occupancy searches, and for this month, we did 4 searches with total $325. Fire inspections, we did 7 fire inspections totaling $1,025. The total for the month is $3,578. Are there any committee reports? No? Historian? Yes. I am. It's right in front of me.
Well, I came to tell you that I took the pamphlet.
Now, you
That's why I'm here.
need to be in front of the microphone. We want to hear you too.
I don't know, do I? Did you show them?
They each have a copy.
They each have their copies?
Yes, they do.
Okay, but. Good evening. Does this thing make a noise? It's
Yep.
not, it's
Yes,
not
it
you
is.
guys, it's me. I'm sorry. I can't help it. But I did, Arlene Giuliano, town historian. I did get to the brochure exchange today at Grand View House or something, whether it's a restaurant,
The Grandview.
down on Rinaldi Avenue, but I first went to Grand Hotel.
Oh, dear.
I thought, on Main Street. Anyway, so there, I wanted to be sure you knew that. And then I have, while I haven't been here to report, in the cold weather and what have you, I don't venture out too much. So but I have been going to various meetings. I go to the Historic Society. I work with them on whatever projects we need to work on together, if that's the case. I've gone to, this was National Tourism Week, that's why she came up with the pamphlets. These are the 2 pamphlets that I really distributed. I had some, okay. And then that's the 3rd year for this this pamphlet exchange. And this was in a different place, so I really, anyway. But
It's a
I
the
support
brochure
tourism.
exchange, yeah.
So I really try to get involved as much as I can, because I think it's something, and I think Victoria and I think some of you all agree that tourism is essential to this area, the whole county. And
Now, how
they're
does that
really-
work?
Pardon?
Arlene? How did that work out there? Did you just meet with different people and
I can't
exchange?
take-
How did it work? How did they do the exchange?
Oh, pull up in the driveway, park your car, and put your brochures in the back. Put up the trunk, and they put them in the trunk. That's usually right. And they're lined up, and a couple of, it depends on how many are there,
Uh-huh.
but that's how they do it.
And people just come,
Yeah, and then you go around, walk around, and
And
pick
hand
up
them
and
out?
give out whichever way that works. But that's the way they've been doing it. It's an outside event, and a distribution of the pamphlets and whatever they have to so distribute to whoever comes. Right.
The letter I got with the information for it also said that, we could send our brochures to Dutchess County Tourism.
Yes, you can do that.
And at any time
Yes.
to Lydia Higginson.
Matter of fact, but I like to show up. I like.
No, I meant
I'm
if they need it, other than just to hand it out to other people, we could send it directly
Yes,
to
you
them.
could.
And then they can also give it to other places.
Right.
So there's two different ways of,
Yes,
of handing them out.
but as long as I'm around and able to walk, and I will do
But
what.
it's nice because you can network with people.
Yes, I think so. I like people, and there was an event earlier in the week on Sunday at Locust Grove by the Dutchess County historian. That was a distribution of information about various agencies. It was and it was also a reenactment by revolutionary dressers. They look good. Of course, I'm a little prejudiced. But, so that was an exchange of information amongst and I went to that one too. And we had, at that one, there was posters, which I had worked on. Matter of fact, the issue that I showed on Sunday at Locust Grove was the jail in Amenia during the times of the Revolution. There was one. I proved it. I proved it by reading the history book. But it was there wherever it was actually, supposedly up this way, maybe in this lot here, maybe up before the Dutchess Turnpike, before there was any village here. Village in the Revolutionary War was up in where I live, up on North Road, so to speak, So this was more vacant. And supposedly the jail was in this area here. And it was to take the overflow of prisoners, spies especially, from Poughkeepsie. The overflow from Poughkeepsie used to come out here. But they weren't too really rigorous with guarding them. They let them escape, and they tried to talk them into joining back on the other side and all this kind of stuff. But the history of the jail is very well written by Henry McCracken, and also Reed writes about it. But that was what I presented. They wanted something different. At least that's what I thought I heard. So I spent quite a bit of time on it. But it was it was inside, so there was no worry about weather. Today they got through it without the rain, fortunately. But it was an outdoor event. Right, and you just go from car to car. And I handed out some of the pamphlets specifically to certain groups there that wanted. Right, so I don't think you missed anything you needed to rest. Right?
Rest?
Right.
No, I
said,
wasn't resting.
You got me up early. That's all right. That's what I need to do. But it was well done. Anyway, and I've also. So those are two major events that I've been to lately. Plus, I went to the Dutchess County Historical Society meeting at FDR Estate in their library there. And they had the presenter on the Beacon Incline Railroad, which is, they're trying to redevelop that, I think. But that one goes back into the end of the 1880s, and it was a real busy place, the Beacon Incline Railroad. They had a train, well, it was a trolley up to the top, and people lived up there. I never remember going when I was a youngster. I don't know about, but they are redeveloping it, and it's a great site. So anyway, but I did want to let you know that I went. And I've got a couple things, and maybe you want them and maybe you don't. But this, I said I have to prove that I was there. The gal was just doing it. Oh, this is a Museum Association of New York. She was right next to me, so I picked up. I don't know if it means anything to any of you. That's for you with her name on it. I don't know. You know, you've got a big empty building here that you might want to do something with. You get
Thank
paper
you.
because if you get the paper, you write it in there. Right?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Oh, all right.
Thank you.
Are you a member? Did you join?
I don't know if it's worth. I don't know if it's worth throwing them or what have you. I really don't. And these, I don't know. Did you get it? Should have picked up more of these. Do you each want one of these? This is
Sure,
really
why
good
don't you give one to
media.
everyone?
You have?
No, I'd like one.
We can get more of these.
Duchess Tourism.
Yeah,
I got 5 of them.
thanks.
And give one to Dawn.
Oh,
All right, now, it's got a media in here.
I hope so.
A bike trail.
Yeah.
It's really well done. Yeah, you did right. Did you get one?
No, that's all right, I can,
Well, we should share.
I only had 5. So
no, that's okay, I can share.
Oh, okay, but
Vicki and I share.
it is well done,
Dover, Wasack, and Millerton.
right?
Yeah.
They sent us some of these. We had them outside
Start
the town
here.
clerk's room for a while.
Did you? You had them?
We had them. I mean,
I can always get more, I just,
Yeah, you can get them.
Yeah.
You might.
No, I
they're
can-
gone, right?
I think so, because these were great. When the kids were coming in from Weebatuck, they needed some maps, so I,
Yeah, this looks
Gave
like a
them.
good one.
yeah, all I have to do is call Lydia Higginson and
right.
she'll send them to me.
Right, but I mean, I was surprised, I don't know, anyway.
But yeah, we should get more of
20
these.
miles, yeah.
you know, it's a great little,
Huh.
I'll send her an email and ask her.
told you how to go.
Anyway, I'm working on
Added by-
a month, the article that I write for Millerton News. I don't get it in every month, it all depends on what I'm doing. But I'm still doing that, and I'm working on an idea for a marker, a road marker. This is what came up in the Historical Society for Hoadley's Indian collection, which is in the museum. We ought to have a marker someplace, I would think, that says basically where they were found. And Dave Reagan said he and I would work together on that one. As far as, I don't know exactly how we do this one, but anyway. But so I am, you're keeping me thinking at least. All right?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm,
I haven't seen this before. This is new.
Okay, the discussion, under discussion, authorization to advertise for deputy building inspector position. I need to move to executive session for us to discuss that. So action, resolution for Old Amenia landfill environmental easement. Resolution number
23?
23. Moving right along, aren't we?
Yeah.
At a meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Amenia held at Amenia Town Hall on the 5th day of May 2016, Town Supervisor Victoria Perotti called the meeting to order and make that motion, seconded by.
I'll second it.
offered the following and moved its adoption. Whereas the town of Amenia is the owner of approximately 29.66 acres of real property located at Route 22, Town of Amenia, County of Dutchess, in State of New York, known and designated as Parcel 1, Section 7006, Block 00, Lot 882575, being the same property conveyed to the town by deed recorded in the Dutchess County Clerk's Office as document number 2206 at page 8111, and Parcel 2, Section 7066, Block 00, Lot 885633, being the same property conveyed to the town by deed recorded in the Dutchess County Clerk's Office as document number 022007 at page 6441. Whereas the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has approved and supervised the investigation and cleanup of the Amenia landfill property, now requires that operations, maintenance, monitoring, and institutional controls be placed on the property. Whereas New York State DEC has approved a site management plan prepared by the town's remediation project engineer, CT Mail Associates, Engineering, Surveying, Architecture, and Landscape Architecture, DPC, outlining all the post-closure and post-remediation requirements for operation, maintenance, monitoring, and institutional controls for the Amenia landfill property. Whereas one of the institutional controls required by New York State DEC pursuant to public policy defined in the New York State Environmental Conservation Law is the use of environmental easements to ensure public safety and to encourage appropriate redevelopment and reuse of remediated properties. Whereas one of New York State DEC's requirements outlined in the site management plan is a grant of environmental easement over approximately 10.21 acres of Amenia landfill property, due to the fact that in New York State DEC approved remediation allowed for low levels of residual contamination to remain on the controlled property under the landfill cap. Whereas a controlled property is more fully described in the land title survey dated July 1st, 2015, revised October 28, 2015, and described in the meets and bounds description dated January 5th, 2016, to be set forth as Schedule A of the environmental easement. Whereas Special Environmental Counsel Kimberly Shaw Ray of Westervelt and Ray, LLP, has prepared the attached draft environmental easement over the controlled property, setting forth New York State DEC's required institutional controls. Whereas after consultation with the town's Special Environmental Counsel, the town board desires to grant an environmental easement to the people of the state of New York for the purposes of conveying real property rights and interests that will run with the controlled property in perpetuity, in order to provide an effective and enforceable means of encouraging the reuse and redevelopment of said landfill project property at a level that has been determined to be safe for a specific use, and to ensure the restriction of future uses of the land that are inconsistent with such purpose. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute an environmental easement from the town of Amenia to the people of the state of New York in substantially the form annexed to this resolution, to be approved by council for New York State DEC and the town attorney, that upon approval by all council and execution by the supervisor, the town clerk, will cause the environmental easement to be recorded in the Dutchess County Clerk's Office. The foregoing resolution was voted on with all councilpersons voting as follows.
Supervisor Perotti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzelberger,
Yes.
Councilman Delango,
Yes.
and Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
A resolution to advertise for 2015 CDBG grant sidewalk repair bids. Resolution number 24. Resolution authorizing the town clerk of the town of Amenia to publish and post notice to contractors for solicitation of bids for sidewalk project along Route 44. At a meeting of the town board of the town of Amenia held at the Amenia Town Hall On the 5th day of May 2016, Town Supervisor Victoria Perotti called the meeting to order, and I make that motion. Second.
And seconded?
Offered the following and moved its adoption. Whereas the town of Amenia previously entered into a cooperation agreement with the County of Dutchess to facilitate applications for Community Development Block Grant from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development under the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. Whereas in or about December 9, 2015, the town entered in an agreement with the County of Dutchess to apply for a CDBG grant for a Town of Amenia downtown sidewalk improvement project for the installation of approximately 1,100 linear feet of sidewalk along the south side of Route 44 so as to repair and connect an existing sidewalk to Beekman Park. Whereas on or about January 29, 2015, the town was advised that a CDBG grant in the amount of $150,000 was awarded to the town for the sidewalk project. Whereas the town has retained Morris Associates Engineering and Surveying Consultants to investigate the particulars of the proposed sidewalk project, to prepare plans and specifications, as well as estimated costs for the sidewalk project. Whereas Morris Associates reported to the town on or about March 10, 2016, it submitted necessary plans and information to New York State Department of Transportation and the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, that those agencies had approved the plans and that the cost of $236,000 would exceed available grant monies. Whereas Town Supervisor Victoria Perotti and Highway Superintendent Stanley Whitehead subsequently met with County Planning to discuss possible modification of the plans for the sidewalk project with respect to the CDBG grant. Whereas County Planning has agreed to a modification of the sidewalk project plans so as to phase the sidewalk project pursuant to grant terms. Whereas Morris Associates has subsequently met with the town board to discuss various options to reduce the sidewalk project costs and has prepared the necessary modifications. Whereas, so as to reduce the cost of the sidewalk project, the town board passed a motion on April 21, 2016, agreeing to a modification of the sidewalk project, which modification will involve replacing approximately 288 feet of the existing Route 44 sidewalk, starting at the end of the existing concrete sidewalk west of the Route 22 44 intersection, extending westward to approximately number 5308 Route 44, with a new 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk in accordance with the plans and specifications prepared by Morris Associates, all subject to the approval of County Planning and New York State DOT, and to put said sidewalk project out to bid. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes, empowers, and directs the town clerk of the town of Amenia to publish notice to contractors of such solicitation of bids on the sidewalk project in accordance with plans and specifications, and notice to contractors as prepared by Morris Associates in the official newspaper of the town, the Millerton News, and Poughkeepsie Journal, and to post such notice on the official signboard of the town clerk at the town hall, the town of Amenia. Foregoing resolution was voted on with all councilpersons voting as follows.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Hitzelberger?
Yes.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
And Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Okay, are there any other matters anyone has? So I don't have any. Public comment? Town board comments.
I would like to mention that the Greenway grant sounded like a great opportunity for September or the December deadlines, those rolling deadlines, to put in an application for continuing some of the improvements at Fountain Square that we never quite completed. Some of those ideas that we've been hoping to make progress on are a proposed retaining wall between M&T Bank towards Delango's Automotive that would help make a nice little planting bed there and make informal seating for our parades and such so that people could be seated, it would be low, but a nice little stone wall we think would be in keeping with that area. The other thing that had been suggested, but we never did quite have enough funds to do that, was make the manhole to the pit where we keep the pump, put a riser on that. That was recommended by Darlene Reamer. We never quite got around to that. And one recommendation from Herb Eschbach was that we put somewhere a sign that says Veterans Memorial Park, something to indicate to the average passerby that there's actually a war memorial there. And that's the main purpose of that Fountain Square, in addition to be a nice community gathering place. I would also follow up on the Memorial Day service. It was posted in your brochure. Thank you, Arlene. You did a great job. Sorry. Well, thank you, Arlene, for the brochure.
I'm sorry.
Actually,
That's all right. And May 30th will be our Memorial Day service at Fountain Square. It's always here at 11 o'clock at M&T Bank, Fountain Square. We gather informally and we have a nice little small ceremony. It's a half an hour, and I believe we'll be having a parade. As far as I know, they walk from, veterans are encouraged to walk with the volunteer firefighters from our firehouse on Mechanic Street to Fountain Square to start the ceremony at 11.
So lineup is at the, begins at 10:15 at the Amenia Firehouse.
Okay.
They're going to be leaving the Amenia Firehouse at 10:45. That way they're here for 11, so we can start at 11.
Great. I would just also mention that we're having some cleanup crews, volunteers going around town doing their section of the neighborhood to clean up their neighborhood of litter. Smithfield Valley is leading the charge in Smithfield Valley, and they're going to be bringing their trash free of charge to the transfer station. And if you give me some advance notice, they're happy to receive free roadside litter, only roadside litter. It's a mess. And if you can, if you want to get some contractor bags, I have some here at the town clerk's office. But do let me know ahead of time so I can let the transfer station attendants know ahead of time that there are specific people going out. Route 22 North is done by Maplebrook School. Lions Club does Route 44 going up Delavan Hill. South Amenia is being handled by CAC and Harlem Valley Materials. They've already done a big thing. I've taken some tires, added them to your, thanks to Delango Automotive. He took some tires that were by the road for free. That's a huge, huge help. Scouts and Enhancement Committee is handling the rail trail, and CAC. If I missed anybody, sorry. That's all the ones I know about. And I know I would just thank Damien for doing a little extra work on looking at the possibility of electric boilers versus the oil-fired burners that we currently have proposed in the specs, and I don't know if it's too late to look into it, but I do think that it's worth waiting even a short time to look at all of our different options for the most efficient system we can possibly get for the town of Amenia for the next 30 years. And I would also just say one more thing. I would say anything we can do to change our webmail service, I would be in favor of. I don't think it's the best service.
Great.
Over on 44 on the way to Sharon, because 44 doesn't, anyway, that road has been uncleaned for, looks to me like 2 or 3 years.
Could be.
And matter of fact, they are starting to, I was going to call New York State myself.
I already did, put a service call.
Okay.
Last week, I called them, and there's a number excuse me, there's a number you can call to put in.
Well, I know Chuck Walters.
He's not the one that does it.
He's not there?
No, he's there. He's not the one who does it.
Oh, okay.
I called, there's a special number you call to put in a service request if you want something cleaned. And I already put in a service request for Route
Okay.
343.
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's a missing road sign. You know the road signal sign, road marker signs, the old ones, the ones that are made of cement, and then there's stones around there.
Yep.
They're all the way from here to on the turnpike, from here to at least Arlington, well, I can't, and I have a picture of the one that was on 44, because when I did that map a few years ago, I can't even, I go on that road, I can't see that one. I don't know where it is. And it was only about 5/10 of a mile from the Sharon line to where that marker was. I hope it's not fallen over. But, so I'm glad you called, because it certainly needs doing.
Yeah, I had someone come
Okay.
up, someone else complain about
I
it.
mean,
so-
I travel 44 quite a bit. I couldn't believe it going from here to Poughkeepsie. It's getting a little better, which is not,
Well,
you know.
actually, the road that I put the service call in was Route 343, because I was told that looked pretty bad too. So that's the one I actually put the service call in.
Well, I think
I could call and do 44 also.
NYSEG does take care of tree growth, and it's in the bills every month, which is fine as far as I'm concerned. They've got to trim the trees away from the wires. They've just got to do it. That's our lifestyle. They're not underground, they're above ground. But that, especially 44, in my observation, it's getting better, but so thank you.
Okay, is there any other town board comments? I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or relating to appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or removal. And the town clerk is excused. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Councilman Zelenko?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hitzberger?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Purdy?
Yes.
And that is at